Hey there, and welcome to the Divorce Planner Podcast. I'm Alex Beatty. The foundation of my coaching philosophy is that there's an emotional side to divorce and a business side, and they need to be separated and addressed individually. You can't make smart business decisions when you're drowning in emotions, and you can't heal emotionally if you're constantly worried about the practical stuff. Today, I'm talking to empowerment coach Ana del Castillo, who specializes in helping women become more grounded in their authenticity. Ana defines rightness as achieving an internal balance, what she calls a soft belly and strong spine, where you can be vulnerable yet maintain strength in how you express yourself. We talked about building resilience through tough times, healing activities that actually work, how to take control of your narrative after divorce, and learning to build boundaries, including that critical skill of saying no. If you're struggling to find your authentic voice and inner strength during divorce, this conversation has practical strategies that can help you quiet the mental noise and self-doubt that can overwhelm you during this time. Let's dive in. Today, I am absolutely privileged to be talking to the renowned coach, Ana del Castillo. She really specializes in working with women, empowering them. And then I want you to get into being a rightness coach so people really understand what that is. If you are new to her, which would blow my mind, I would encourage you to please go check her out. She's amazing. And again, welcome. And thank you so much for sharing your time today.
It's my pleasure. When you reached out and you're like, come do this, I was like, anytime to spend a little bit of quality energy exchange with you.
Can you explain exactly what an empowerment and rightness coach does?
Okay, so the very short version of it is I think of rightness as two things, soft belly and a strong spine. So soft belly is you let things affect you. You're not like, some people have boundaries like walls. I mean, like a strong spine where you could actually stand up for yourself, but you could let people in and out and you know what distance you need to have with the right people. Like some people need to be in another state, some people need to be in another country, and some people need to be really close to you and everything in between. So I think of rightness that way. And I also think of rightness as a quiet brain and a soft heart, an open heart. So many of us as women, we wake up into the idea that, not even the idea, the chatter in our brains of there's something wrong. Why did I do that? And we're constantly sort of spinning out about conversations we've had or relationships that we're in or people that did us dirty or that, oh, did I do something wrong? Oh my God, I'm too heavy. I'm too, like the million things that we're constantly comparing ourselves to. So I am a specialist in quieting that down instead of coming from like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with this? What's wrong? Like being right in your own skin, no matter what's happened.
It's a really beautiful description. I think there's a sense of, well, only my brain works this way. Oh, somehow these thoughts I'm having are because I'm incredibly intuitive and I'm right about everything. The brain can always look for ways to back up, to prove what it's thinking. And if that's what you're looking for, that's what you're going to find. But actually being able to rewire your brain, it takes practice and it takes work. So working with somebody like you is incredibly helpful. These are things that more often than not, people go through their lifetime learning how to get the proper user manual. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I want to add something to what you just said. I don't mean to cut off, but especially if you are someone, and I am one of those people who comes from a childhood that was filled with pain and trauma and, let's say, dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is already wired a certain way, and then your life will get very quickly grooved into a certain pattern. And how I work with women a lot of the time is in interrupting and shifting those patterns from a somatic point of view and also from your mental point of view, from like every single aspect in a way that's gentle and quick and actually shifts that so that you're behaving differently, you're feeling differently, you're acting differently. You can actually thrive rather than like just survive your life.
I love that you said that. I think that it's also important for people to realize that you can even feel like that you have maybe dealt with some traumas from your past life before, only to then have life throw you a big challenge like a divorce.
You could have had a great family and then something happens, or you're just walking around like sort of afraid and your system is activated for sure.
Yes. And so how, if, you are going through something like a separation or divorce or any kind of traumatic event, I think even in the best of situations, it's still a huge life change. It's going to give you triggers and reverberate throughout your life. What are some ways that you can build resilience during tough times?
So, I mean, this is going to be counterintuitive because most people think being strong means invincibility, but resilience is, and being genuinely strong is you move into the sadness. You move into, I don't mean you just move in and then you stay there and then you're wallowing in your own pain. I mean, you turn your attention towards the thing that is the scary, painful, uncomfortable thing to look at. And you do it not all at once. You don't overwhelm your system. You just do it little by little. If you have a profound amount of grief because you just finished this, you're divorcing from someone and you have children and it's really painful, you turn a little bit towards it. You just tell the truth.
Yeah.
You just, like, so many of us nowadays, we're like, but I'm fine. We put that at the tail end of like deep sorrow or deep trauma or something that's going on, but I'm okay. I'll be fine. Throw that last sentence away. Of course you'll be fine. And you will be fine quicker if you actually start admitting to yourself, start spending time, genuine time and attention with the part of you that isn't fine right now.
As those feelings come up, don't push them away. Actually, part of the process of healing is giving them space. If you keep pushing them down, they're going to fight and come out in a different way. Or there's going to be a storm cloud that stays over your head and you're like, I don't know why it's there. Everything's fine. But it's not fine if you don't even just say, I am having this and give it a name, feeling right now. And being able to people get really uncomfortable sitting with those feelings.
I want to also say women are so conditioned to be nice and like sweet. And in a divorce, sometimes that's not how you feel. And so I'm not saying that you should, but sometimes you might hate someone to the point where you like imagine the worst happening. Don't act it out, but give yourself the space to actually feel that. Go to a rage room. There are rage rooms everywhere at this point. Go to a rage room and destroy a car or a fax machine or like literally be with your friends and just like let yourself feel all the things that are not good and nice.
We'll be back after a quick break. Feeling overwhelmed about the possibility of a divorce and not sure where to start? Book a free 15-minute strategy call with me. During our time, we'll talk about where you are in the process and what next steps could be. To schedule your call and learn more about my coaching program, head over to www.thedivorceplanner.net/coaching. Let's get back to today's episode. The end of a relationship can really feel like the death of a life that you were building towards or that you had hoped for. So I wanted to know, what are some actions that you could offer that promote healing during challenging times, and starting with like a rage room? Are there more things that people
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe very much that you can't think your way, you can't shame your way, think your way, hate your way out of towards like self-acceptance and love. You actually have to like be and do. Some things that you can do is when you're angry and you can't go to a rage room, take a hand towel and like twist the crap out of someone's imaginary neck. Just like, just like take it out and do that. Right. There's also something else that I love to do, which is called a shake. Put on some music for like 5 minutes, like one of those like really angry, great songs, and just incoherently shake and make noise. So I'm talking about, instead of dancing pretty, just be incoherent. And the reason why that works and that helps and that it matters is because our brain has a lot of opinions and it has a lot of judgments about how you should and should not be. And when you throw all that out, you give yourself, and I don't care if 5 minutes is too long, do it for a minute, do it for 30 seconds, just do it for as long as you can. Physically shake, kick the air, beat a pillow, beat the thing, and just let yourself be incoherent. And then for the full also amount of time, let's say for 5 minutes, breathe and then write for the same amount of time. Another thing you can do, see, these are like all somatic stuff, is there's so much science around cold plunges. So I have something set up where in my bathtub I have, it's, if you can't do a cold plunge, right? If you don't have like cold plates or things or ice cubes or none of blah, 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 if it's too complicated, go into a cold shower, really, really cold shower for as long as you can stand it. For some reason, I know what the reason is. It literally, it's like somehow your physiological body being in the stress of that kind of thing actually expands your capacity to feel things that are stressful and you'll be calm in the face of that. So it does that sort of switcheroo. It's really interesting. There are all kinds of somatic things to do, but those are like off the top of my head.
I love that physical activity that has a direct impact on your mental health. I love the science coming out behind it. I love that when we're talking about anything to do with being a human, we are bringing in these new ideas and they're commonplace, which is great.
Well, I want to say one more thing for people who are seriously, seriously like you can't even do that. Like I was going to say, and also take a walk in the morning, like 20 minutes of sunshine is really helpful. But then there are some people who might be listening to this, whether now or in the future, who you're really, really so down that you can't even do any of those things. You're like in a fetal position. I work with people who are literally like, I've got kids and they're like, I can't even get myself out of bed. Your life as you knew it is done. And so now there's a new place, and what you're starting from is ground zero. So if you got up and brushed your teeth, you celebrate that. If you changed out of your pajamas and you got into like, I don't know, a pair of sweatpants, you celebrate that. You start over and you celebrate from the very, very small places that you're starting from.
Absolutely. Celebrate the small victories because otherwise you don't see the bigger picture. We're all caught up with the big lives. And when you're going through a divorce, it's not like the rest of your life just stops. You're juggling that on top of whether all these social responsibilities, familial responsibilities, perhaps you're working outside of the house, you're raising kids. It's like, it's already a lot on your plate. Sometimes we as women tend to overcommit ourselves and maybe have a hard time with carving out boundaries. Are there any kind of helpful hints that you might be able to share to help somebody be able to do that a little more clearly and in an easy way? I think people think saying no means that I'm a mean person or they have this sense of obligation. So they somehow forget to say yes to themselves. Does that make sense?
100% it makes sense. We are for others before we are for ourselves. We are conditioned from birth to when we die that as women, we are trained to be mothers first. Even if you don't have children, you are trained to mother other people. And so we are always sacrificing ourselves. That's what we're conditioned to do. So it's Mary, you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the water we swim in and it's the air we breathe. So how you go against the conditioning, and it runs deep, is I love Brene Brown's idea of twisting. Like she's like, whenever anybody asks her and she doesn't have an automatic yes, first of all, even if you know you're a yes, even if you are, there's nothing wrong with taking a breath. And what you do with that is you always, no matter what, if anybody asks you anything, even if you go into the restaurant, even if you're going at a store and they're like, would you like some help? I want you to twist your ring 3 times before you answer. And in that time that you take to twist your ring around your finger 3 times, I want you to check in. And if there's a little bit of a no, you just say, if it's at the store, not right now. If it's with a person, you go, I need a moment to think about it. Just give yourself a little bit of time. You don't have to say no. You just have to give yourself some time. And if you are a little bit better at saying no, then I want you to give yourself a game. I want you to take a day where, wherever possible, even if it seems silly, I just want you to say no to every single person that you come into contact with. I want you to be like, just like play around with saying no.
Yeah.
Just let yourself, hi, can I? No, thank you. Just say no. Play with it.
I love that. Giving yourself permission to get comfortable with the word. And as you mentioned, or we talked about at the top of this, it's like there's this idea of we're conditioned, right, to always being saying yes. And, I always try when I'm working with clients, just preparing them for the process. And I'm always saying, take a breath, wait a beat, and being able to say, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to think about it and get back to you. Even just practicing that, which is like, I love this idea of spending one day getting comfortable with saying no and putting it into action because then, you're retraining your brain to realize saying no really means saying yes to me. And nobody else is going to put you first. And putting yourself first is not somehow this rebellious act of negativity that you're putting out into the world. It's really taking care of yourself. And this is your journey. So if you're not going to advocate for yourself in that way, nobody else is going to do it.
There are sometimes in really interesting ways where I go get a haircut and I suddenly am like, lose my voice a little bit. And I'm like, wow, it's so interesting where the conditioning, like meanwhile, across the board of my life, that's not where it shows up. But when I go get a haircut, that's where it showed up. So it is not perfection. It is an ongoing process of where you lose your voice, you lose your spine, you lose yourself, and then you just like forgive, and then you just keep getting back on the bike and you learn.
I love it. It's not perfection. It is an ongoing process. I mean, put it on a t-shirt. We'll be right back after a quick break. Subscribe to the Divorce Planner's weekly newsletter and get divorce prep tips, financial planning tools, and expert insights delivered discreetly to your inbox. Sign up at www.thedivorceplanner.net. Let's get back to today's episode. I will say that, a big life challenge like a divorce is really, it can be an opportunity, as we're talking about, for deep introspection, right? Any kind of big life change and being able to take control of the narrative in some way. And it puts you in a position, a really beautiful position, to create a life that really aligns with your priorities and values moving forward. And maybe if you've been in a relationship, the end of a relationship, most people have tried things for quite some time. So, and you can get lost in that process. So, what are some ways that people can kind of build on that time of introspection to be able to, I think this idea of creating a life that is authentically a reflection of you can somehow intimidate people. But what are some ways that people can kind of give themselves some ideas of things they should be thinking about to help them on that journey?
Yeah, I love this conversation so much. I mean, this is like, like authentically being yourself without apology. That is literally the platform I stand on. I was married. I'm now married again. There is something about you being yourself, and then you get married and you become a we. And that we genuinely transforms who you are. Especially for women, you are no longer just thinking for yourself. You are, and if you were already bent towards that position, you really, really go like all like full hog inside of that. You are a we, and you are not an individual. You have lots of guilt. So the relationship has ended, and you are now mourning this dream that was a we, and you don't quite know who an I is yet. And the I that you were before your marriage is no longer, you don't even know who you are separate from this thing. So you actually first have to just acknowledge that that is the case. And there is something a little bit maybe scary or intimidating or a little nerve wracking about the fact that here you are in your own life and you don't actually know who you are in this life. You might be older, you maybe, your situations is whatever it is. It's like a brand new you. I don't know what you were like as a child, but for me, there were certain things that really inspired me and that I loved. I would come home. This was before the age, I'm this old. This is before the age of the internet. This is before the age of anything. I would come home and I would craft Wonder Woman crowns, like the thing that she would wear. I would do craft lassos of truth. And I would literally like create them. I would do this just about every single day because I was obsessed. It was the first time I'd seen a woman who was like a superhero. And that really said something to me. And so after my divorce, I was like, I don't know who I am right now, but I remembered the things that I really loved as a child. And I'm not saying that I need to do crafts and do Wonder Woman stuff and like walk around like that. Although if that floats your boat, you should do that for sure. But there was something about when I felt into that, my heart would get lighter and I would get moved. And so I started to sniff out and be curious around what was it about that made me inspired. She stood tall. Yes, it was the 70s, so she had to hide behind her one persona. But when she was Wonder Woman, she knew how to block bullets and have people tell the truth. That's not really far from what I do now. So my suggestion is you follow and get curious about the things that have your skin tingle and light you up, things that you were interested in as a child, the things, be curious. You are now going to start to date yourself. You have no idea who you are, and you're going to start to get to know who you are. And the process of getting to know who you are, just like in any relationship, is that sometimes you'll be sad, sometimes you'll be angry, but you will listen, hopefully, to yourself as you're getting to know and reclaiming the relationship and the I that you are now.
What a beautiful answer. Get curious, cultivate joy. I think that also goes hand in hand with what we were talking about when it came to boundaries or how to start taking care of yourself and build resilience. All these things go hand in hand. And so if you make it actually, instead of sounding maybe woo woo, it might sound a little, granola crunchy to some people.
Put it on the calendar. Put one thing on the calendar a week, whether it's the local library is doing a talk on something, or the Nature Conservancy is doing a walk, or there's a volunteering opportunity. Start to engage in those things that light you up inside, as you said. And then it becomes a habit. And when that happens, that's where the magic is, right?
Yeah.
And you are reconnecting, doing something and that brings you that joy that lights you up inside. It's got a huge ripple effect across every other area of your life. And it keeps getting you bigger and brighter and it expands you. And it can be really grounding and empowering at the same time. I think that's brilliant, Anna. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of this stuff. And if people want to work with you, how can they find you and what can you offer? Just so I'd love for people to know about you and where to go.
Yeah, well, certainly you can go to my socials. I pretty much have been posting. I try to give as much of like my thoughts, my wisdom, my learnings away, just like you do as well. So you can do that. Also, you can go to my website, which is myrightness.com.
Please check out everything she has to offer. She is truly one of the most special people I've met since taking on this work. She's a kindred spirit, and I feel lucky to know her and introduce her. It blows my mind if somebody doesn't know about her. And I thank you so deeply for being with me today. Thank you, my friend.
Appreciate that. I want to say one more thing about you. If I had known that there was someone like you, there are a lot of men in the field that you're in who are advised women, but you have a particular niche. If I had known that someone like you was out there genuinely giving not just sage advice, but empowering advice around money and how to sort of shore up all of the foundations and the things so that there's runway for us to leave, I would have run, not walked to you. And so thank you so much for the work that you do for women. It's a gift.
Thank you so much. It's a huge compliment.
That's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you found it helpful. For more free resources, check out my blog at www.thedivorceplanner.net/blog. You'll find articles on how to emotionally and financially prepare for divorce, gain insights into the process from divorce experts, and empower yourself with tips and tools that make your divorce journey easier. And you can follow me on Instagram at the.divorce.planner, on Facebook at Divorce Prep, and on YouTube at The Divorce Planner for daily divorce prep tips and support. I've helped hundreds of clients and thousands more with my digital divorce prep tools prepare for divorce, and I'd be honored to support you too. I'm Alex Beatty, and this has been the Divorce Planner Podcast. Until next time, remember, divorce is hard. Preparing for one doesn't have to be.